Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center. I'm Technical Sergeant Elizabeth Pinozo, and I will be your master of ceremony for today's event commemorating the TEC's 45th anniversary. At this time, please rise for the arrival of our official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem and invocation.
Dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red the bombs bursting in air gave proof of the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we come to this commemoration with a spirit of gratefulness, reflecting on 45 years of service from the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center. Throughout the ages, people have gathered to pay tribute to their predecessors and to recall momentous events that have helped shape their history. In this sacred tradition we follow today, thankful for the visionary leaders who paved the way, mindful of their commitment to excellence in the fields of military education, media, and support. We stand upon their shoulders and look eagerly to the future, confident that our best days are ahead, especially as we rely upon your wisdom, guidance, and grace. Bless us, O God, in this time of celebration as we pray in gratitude for all that has been and for all that is to come. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Campbell, and thank you, Senior Master Sergeant Andy Tragow, for singing our national anthem. It's my pleasure to introduce our official party. The first commander of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, Colonel Retired Ed Morrissey, and his wife, Polly. The current commander of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, Colonel Tim Cathcart, and his wife, Sue. The current Commandant of the Paul H. Langford EP-Me Center, Chief Master Sergeant Don Felch, and his wife, Kathy. We'd also like to welcome distinguished Knoxville businessman and dear friend of the Center, Ambassador John Dice. Representing the General Bruce K. Holloway chapter of the Air Force Association, Brigadier General Retired James Munganis and his wife, Jeannie. The commander of the 134th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Tommy Coffin. The Chief of the Air Force Reserve Command Professional Development Center, Colonel Kat Blassie. The Vice Commander of the 134th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Randy Gratz. The Commander of the 119th Command and Control Squadron, Colonel Vincent Franklin. The Second Commander of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, Colonel Retired Larry Martin and his wife Suzanne. The Fourth Commander of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, Colonel Retired Greg Masulik. The Vice President of East Tennessee Military Affairs Council, Colonel Retired Owen Reglin. A great supporter of the center and also a dear friend, Colonel Retired James Cody. The senior enlisted leader and representing the TEG of the Tennessee National Guard, Command Sergeant Major George Holland. The Command Chief of the 134th Air Refueling Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Steve Payne. The Second Commandant of the Paul H. Langford EPME Center, Chief Master Sergeant Retired George Bitsum. The Ninth Commandant of the Paul H. Langford EPME Center, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Arthur Hefner and his wife Gail. And representing Chief Master Sergeant Paul Langford, our first enlisted commandant is his wife, Miss Edna Langford. We are also fortunate to have with us today several Air National Guard leaders, live from the Air National Guard Readiness Center at Joint Base Andrews, via the video teletraining evolution of TEC's Warrior Network. This two-way video and audio capability offers a high-definition, high bitrate, high frame rate training tool for TEC's blended and distant learning programs. The Center has already employed this capability to deliver enlisted professional military education to hundreds of Air Guardsmen within the field. Today, it connects TEC with senior leaders in the National Capital Region. Welcome, members of the National Guard Readiness Center. How's our connection? Any initial words?
Good afternoon. We hear you loud and clear. Colonel Eric Mann, the Vice Commander, speaking for General Williams, and you'll hear from him in a second from a tape that he made. Unfortunately, he's unable to be here today. He's returned from G-Slick. Great connection, very clear, very loud. Congratulations to everybody there on all your efforts and all your graduates, on your community service and all your awards. Only thing we want to know is when the cake and ice cream is going to reach us. On the program it says here, so we're assuming that's going to be set up here in a minute, Tim. Thanks a lot. Working great.
Thank you, National Guard Bureau. And last but not least, we'd like to welcome all TEC faculty and staff. So would all former and current TEC members please stand and be recognized? Brigadier General Scott Williams, the Air National Guard Readiness Center Commander, he couldn't be with us today. However, he does send the men and women of the TEC greetings and congratulations.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and honored guests. Since I can't be with you in person today, I'm taking a page out of the TEC playbook to share in this special occasion with you virtually. It is my privilege to commemorate this milestone and congratulate all former and current members of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center on 45 years of exceptional service to our great nation. You've come a long way since 1968, both in your scope and impact. The schoolhouse, created by Air Guardsmen for Air Guardsmen, has flourished into a total force education center for all airmen, active, Guard, Reserve, and civilians. You've also become an invaluable resource for our sister services and partner nations. You've employed innovative techniques and cutting-edge technologies to educate more than 63,000 students, both through traditional resident programs as well as blended learning satellite programs. That's an enormous positive impact on our total force. Your advanced distributed learning products have reached countless numbers of professional continuing education participants. And through the A&G Warrior Network, you provide outstanding TEC information nationwide. You've truly embraced the vision of Major General I.G. Brown, the first Air National Guard Director, by establishing a world-class professional development center designed to engage, educate, and inspire military leaders. Undoubtedly, your contributions to our nation's defense are felt around the world every day through your former students who have gone forth and led. On behalf of Lieutenant General Clark, the Director of the Air National Guard, and a grateful nation, I thank you for your service and commend you on this special day. Godspeed in your next 45 years.
Our thanks to General Williams. We wouldn't be here today without the tremendous support of the people in this room. We began from humble beginnings in the corner of the hangar down the street as the first Air National Guard Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. The Officer Preparatory Academy and the Leadership School was later developed. Curriculum shops were stood up that built effective training and education material for the Air National Guard, the United States Air Force, and the Department of Defense. Dormitories, classrooms, dining halls, and recreational spaces were built. Through the awesome reach of space, the TEC leveraged satellite technology to introduce blended learning solutions that are the envy of many and a tremendous benefit to our traditional guardsmen. We are reaching into new missions, new technologies, and new educational arenas to continue to serve as the heart of the Air National Guard. Our graduates continue to lead today and have served in every conflict since the Vietnam War, and it all started from one man's vision.
Non-Commissioned Officer Academy Class 68B began with a vision to strengthen the leadership abilities of the enlisted force, thereby creating a stronger, more ready Air National Guard. As General I.G. Brown noted, strong units not only have strong officer managers, but equally strong enlisted leadership. Taking into account that military education is a key to achieving this goal, he challenged his staff to find the resources needed to start the Air National Guard Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. Nestled in the scenic foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, they found McGhee Tyson Air National Guard Base, home of the 134th Air Refueling Group. The facilities General Brown needed to support his undertaking were here, and easily accessible for guest speaker support from the National Guard Bureau. Applicants from around the country were screened for faculty positions, while Chief Master Sergeant Paul H. Langford was handpicked by General Brown to become Deputy Commandant for the new NCO Academy staff.
Chief Langford was one of those selections that had to have been somewhat fate-driven. I can't imagine anyone else who would have been more qualified or would have been more successful than Chief Master Sergeant Paul Langford.
Major Ed Morrissey, a young field grade officer from Texas, was selected as the Academy's first commandant.
His advice was very, very simple. He said, make this work. And little did I know the extensive make this work would spread to.
From its very first class, graduates of the NCO Academy went forth to become key enlisted leaders in their wings, states, and in the Air National Guard.
Attitudes were being changed here. Where they may have been coasting back home, that turned around, and the feedback that we got from their supervisors and from their commanders made ensure that we never lacked for having folks come here. And that was extremely well gratifying.
In 1970, two significant events took place at the schoolhouse. First, the NCO Academy graduated its 1,000th student in Class 71-1. And second, the National Guard Bureau approved the establishment of the Air National Guard's Leadership School.
We brought in 4 instructors, and I was one of the 4 instructors that taught in Leadership School. We had to write our own lesson plans, write our own test questions. We had to bring the students in, and indoctrinate the students in the school, set up their leadership. I thought it was a very effective school.
In April 1971, the start of the Air National Guard Officer Preparatory Academy, today known as the Academy of Military Science, took off.
The staff under Colonel Morrissey was absolutely superb. We had an outstanding experience here. Certainly there was a lot of discipline.
We soon forgot about the makeshift classrooms in the hangar, the Spartan living conditions in the dormitory, or the hard folding chairs placed in the renovated gymnasium.
There was a total transformation, and we started with the construction of the classroom and the first dorm 410, and the real challenge was keeping the school operational for AMS and the NCAA Academy while doing the demolition and construction.
Your instructors have spent these past weeks providing you with the tools and knowledge necessary to lead as supervisors and non-commissioned officers in our Expeditionary Air Force.
The I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, known as the TEC, is the premier center for the development of career servicemen and women, providing a shared common experience for all members of the Department of Defense, governmental agencies, and coalition partners. The TEC's Media and Engagement Division functions as the Air National Guard's clearinghouse for skill enhancement training, ancillary training, and courseware review. From their Community College of the Air Force accredited instructor certification program to numerous interactive web-based courses, TEC's Media and Engagement Division is widely regarded as the Air National Guard's foremost institution for personal and professional development. The Paul H. Langford EPME Center still provides enlisted professional military education as it did in 1968. Their mission? Educate, inspire, and challenge enlisted warriors to meet evolving mission needs. For students who cannot attend our enlisted schools in residence, the TEC offers a unique alternative through our blended distance learning programs. Using satellite and terrestrial network technology, our on-campus high-definition studios broadcast the Langford Center's Satellite Airman Leadership School and NCO Academy to classrooms around the nation.
113th, I see you out there. Any questions?
This is the 113th Capitol Guardians, no questions.
This is the crown jewel of the Air National Guard. It's a very positive, productive educational facility that not only takes care of the school businesses, but troubled or challenged AFSCs that need additional help. We provide assistance to rectify the challenge.
Within the Media and Engagement Division is TEC TV, the Air National Guard's high-definition television broadcast center. In 2012, we completed a $2.4 million upgrade to our media broadcast studio, placing us on the cutting edge of satellite and media production technology. This upgrade further established the TEC as the Air National Guard's primary force developer. In addition to our broadcast center, TEC TV also is home to the National Guard's Minuteman News Report. Our broadcast team captures and transmits the Air National Guard story to DoD and civilian news outlets worldwide.
If there's a legacy that is enduring about the Training and Education Center for the Air National Guard, it is that it has been able to be flexible and adaptable over time, respond to changing needs, some of which simply could not have been foreseen. And as a result, it's just as relevant today as it was in its earliest days.
Thanks to Major General Brown and the tradition of the Citizen Airmen, the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center looks forward to the next 45 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome to the stage the man who started it all, our first commander from 1968 to 1983, retired Colonel Edmund Morrissey.
My. The numbers of the anniversary of the center are the same numbers of my IQ, and I'm up here to speak. It pleases me to see the number of folks here. Just give you a little idea of what it was like. On the graduation of 68B, we set the standard for the schoolhouse. This is what it is. You met it, you graduated. For example, in the first years, we had just an academic standard. You had to get 70, and 69.9 didn't cut it. We had two big challenges. One is this was a bare bones, out-of-pocket resource. And I'll give you a classic example. We were on our second 6-week class, and we said, my gosh, you can't get sick or you can't go on emergency leave because we got nobody to take your place. So what are we going to do? After that class was over, we sat with them and said, okay, in 3 months, you're going to teach your backup subject. Now, they weren't very happy about that, but we said, you go ahead and see if you can make arrangements with one another to get that done. And if you can't, then Langford and I could get it done for you. And by gosh, 3 months later, they taught their backup subject, and then somebody could get sick or somebody could go on emergency leave. It took us about 2 years to really get a handle on what was going on. Not only was the curriculum put forth, but attitudes were getting changed here. And we had the normal, like in the NCO Academy, a 6-week class, but for traditional guardsmen, we collapsed it into 4 weeks. And they came here 2 weeks at a time in lieu of field training, 10 hours a day for 6 days, no guest speakers, no field trip, no goodies, just hard at it. But the attitude of the graduates was exactly the same. Bare bones. And then image. The Air National Guard was not highly regarded during this time by both the active military and the civilian communities. And our people were bound to determine this was not going to be a second-class operation, and we were going to have it fine. A regular Air Force tech sergeant in the communication business finally got accepted to go to in-residence PME. He was thrilled to death because now there was a chance for him to get to be a master sergeant, and who knows where that would take it. And then he found out he was going to the raggedy-ass militia school, and he'd be damned if he was going to do that. You know, he was fortunate. He had some friends that gathered around him and said, "Look, if you want to complete your career as a tech sergeant, you just go ahead and say no. This is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." So he listened, and he came here. His name was Jim Hunter, and he lasted the 6 weeks, and he graduated, and he went back home, and he wrote a letter to the 2-star in charge of the communications business that said it was the most magnificent experience he had in his 16 years in the service. And the 2-star, bless him, endorsed that on to I.G. Brown and sent us back to us. 2 years were even with the rest of the crowd, and we were helpful. Our butts were in the ADC Academy, which is now at Tyndall, and I mentioned comm people. When they wanted to get in the NCO business, they asked us if we'd help them. And so Langford and I went up there and a few others, and we did that. And their school eventually ended up in Keesler, and I think it's out of business now. But 5 years in business, we were the pick of the litter. I'm not kidding you. And one of the beauties is the Community College of the Air Force wanted to get enlisted PME accredited at the collegiate level. So where do they send the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools? It's right here in Knoxville. The faculty of that time and thereafter received all the awards and recognition that they were eligible for. Just super people. The schoolhouse, your schoolhouse, is now known as the Air National Guard Crown Jewel, and rightly so. When I retired in '84, living in the community, I pretty much did other things by bribe, and I never came out here. I believe in that old axiom that every dog has its day. But the 6th Commander, Richard Burris, came to me one day, and he said, "I'd like to have you come out here and set up a heritage committee of past experience, and your mission objective would be to be helpful." And we said, "Yeah, we can do that, and we will do that." At that time, I needed to redeem myself from some younger mistakes, and so I got active in the exercise business in the gym, to be here about 3 days a week. And boy, I was smelling something, and then I was seeing something, and then I understood what was going on. This current staff here has bought into well-performing to get it done. And they don't have to take their hat off to anybody, I can assure you. And today, their challenges are probably twice as difficult as ours were. We have got a heck of a lot more latitude. And the way things are looking now, things are going to get more challenging, Commander, as far as I can see. But you know, you're just doing a super job now. You're as equal to, if not better, than those of us who come before you. And I am honored to be in your presence. I'll remember one more time that old axiom. In life, it's a hell of a lot easier to be outstanding than it is to be unsatisfactory. And that works. Thank you all.
Thank you, Colonel Morrissey. And now, please welcome the 12th and current Commandant of the Paul H. Langford Enlisted Professional Military Education Center, Chief Master Sergeant Don Felch.
Boss, Colonel Morrissey, thank you so much for those inspiring words and for the words of confidence that you have in us as we carry on your traditions. Distinguished guests, family, friends, faculty, and staff, thank you so much for taking some time today to join us in this 45th anniversary celebration. I believe it's an important thing to do. Today, the men and women of the Paul H. Langford EPME Center pause with the TEC to salute those who have gone before us, those whose vision, foresight, and perseverance made possible the largest and longest continually operating EPME center in our entire Air Force. Miss Edna, ma'am, thank you. Thank you for honoring us with your presence today and for bringing the sweet memories of our chief. We miss him, as I know you do. You and your family are very dear to us. I sincerely hope that our everyday efforts would continue to make Chief Langford proud. I hope that by keeping his life's work alive and by graduating airmen from the schoolhouse that bears his name, that we honor him. I hope that knowing that we send those same airmen out into our Air Force, Air National Guard, Air Force Reserve Command to lead others, that we bring you some small pieces of joy as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to read a brief note that I received this morning at 05:30. Colonel Morrissey often reminds me that older gentlemen and ladies sometimes keep short hours. It reads, Commandant, congratulations on the 45th anniversary of the Air National Guard NCOA and the TEC. As a member of the first class, none of us would have imagined the great school it would become. We are all very proud of the excellent staff all of the schools have had throughout the years and the outstanding results they have achieved. Could you please give Colonel Cathcart my best regards? Congratulations again. John Van Roo, Chief Master Sergeant, Wisconsin Air National Guard NCOA, Class 68B, and Second President, NCOAGA, Chapter 1.
Thank you, Chief Felch. Thank you, Chief Felch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce Commander of the I.G. Brown Training and Education Center, Colonel Tim Cathcart.
Take care of disaster and those kinds of things. And so after a few years, number of years and a number of graduates, training moved elsewhere. And so what we've done since then is we've used that building for a lot of our professional continuing education and other training programs that we do here at the Training Education Center. Of course, in addition to that, our chaplain uses his office and counsels and mentors people on a practically daily basis. And of course, use it for worship service along with the 134 chaplains. And we use it for other things, military ceremonies, those kinds of things. So, but for a long time, it's not really had a real name that was applicable and that made sense for the long term. So after some consideration, what we've done is decided the name Wingman Hall would be appropriate for it. So in the Air Force, a wingman is a very core principle, a very common term of what it means to be part of the Air Force. It involves taking care of yourself and taking care of your fellow airmen, making sure that they have the ability to do their job, whether it's skills, whether it's protection, whether it's looking out for them in one perspective or another. So wingman is a nice term as we think about Wingman Hall that reflects both the heritage and the history of the building, what we do here at the TEC, and where we think we're going to go in the future in taking care of our airmen. So that's the plan. We're going to march everybody out and form you up. And this was the chief's idea. We're going to have you information in there, and we're going to unveil the name on the side of the building. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. It's a little warm out there, plus we lose our link with our good folks up at the National Guard Bureau. So instead, what we've done is we've prepared a short video showing the name being put on the building. And so if you happen to come in, you might notice a little tarp on the building. When you leave, it'll be removed. You'll be able to see the building with its real name on it. But for right now, let's roll the short video, please. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Wingman Hall. I'd like to also point out that is, in fact, the actual speed that we operate here with the TEC. So I need to conclude my remarks by thanking a lot of people. And unfortunately, there's so many people, I'm going to have to do it by groups. So first thing I have to do is I have to thank those who've come before. Those who have built this institution, have put it together, have arranged for us to be able to have this celebration by their hard work, their blood, sweat, and tears. There's a phrase out there about how we stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's really true here. So thank you to those who came before and all of you who have had a part in our success. The second group I need to thank is our partners. Chief of those is the 134th. Colonel Coffin, Colonel Gratz, and a number of the other folks I see out there in the audience. Daily basis, the very talented members of the 134th support our operations, enable us to be able to deliver that training education to America's Airmen. Couldn't do it without the team. It's a great team. We thank you very much, all of you. Second part of that is, of course, our community partners, and we have to say thanks to them. We can't do it without the community, and there's a very outstanding community here in East Tennessee. Truly phenomenal, unprecedented level of support to the military. They cherish the military, and that's a very critical thing in these times. So appreciate them. And of course, to their National Guard Readiness Center. I know sometimes we seem a little needy down here, and we have a lot of stuff that we need and request, but you always come through for us, and we appreciate that. It's through your support that we are able to meet the requirements to train and educate the people, meet your goals, and ensure the health of the Air National Guard and its readiness to take care of America's vital national interests. So thank you all for your support and what you do for us up there at the Readiness Center. So the other piece that we need to talk about is the members of the TEC. Members of the TEC on a daily basis impact a lot of people. You heard some of the numbers up here, and it's amazing the impact that we have, a disproportionate impact across not just the Air Guard and not just across the Air Force, but across other departments as well, and interagency, for example, Coast Guard. It's amazing the reach and impact that we have from right here in East Tennessee. So I want to thank the members of the TEC, current in particular, for everything you do every day. I also have to go ahead and mention that this was no small undertaking to put this together. It took a lot of the staff here to do that. And I really appreciate the time and effort everybody put into making this a nice event for us and our guests and getting it all put together. And a special shout out to our engineers and our IT people and those at the Air National Guard Readiness Center and the CCY division. Putting together this video teletraining link, there's a little bit of a high-tech piece to this. It's a little complicated. There were some last-minute glitches, but the team came together and did a great job in making this possible. And not just for today, but making it possible that we can use this link now into the future to continue our purpose of training and educating America's Airmen. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of you that came out and attended this commemoration. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for your support to the TEC and to America.
Thank you, Colonel Cathcart. For those of you who are here in person, we'd like to extend an invitation for all of you to join us in the Rotunda for refreshments. Unfortunately, we are unable to provide virtual refreshments for those at the ANGRC. In addition to cake, we will proudly serve ice cream as a tribute to Chief Langford. Chief Langford was a former prisoner of war and survivor of the Bataan Death March. When asked what he missed most while in captivity, he often said he missed ice cream. Therefore, we hope you can join us in this long-standing TEC tradition. The Center's Media and Engagement Division will also host tours of the TEC TV studio, which recently completed a $2.4 million upgrade. Please stop by to see how the TEC delivers training and education in high definition. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the departure of the official party? This concludes today's commemoration. We look forward to seeing you again in 2018 for the 50th anniversary celebration. Thank you for all who attended today in person and those at the ANGRC who took the time to participate. TEC signing out.